Hey, you guys, how are you? How are you? How are you? So, listen, I want to first say welcome, welcome, welcome to my page. I appreciate you. I thank you all for joining. Listen, I want to have a very serious conversation about um, donor acquisition and understanding donors overall, right? I get approached all the time by people who say, Jen, I got my nonprofit, but now I need donors. Jen, I started my nonprofit organization, but now I need funding. Jen, I started my nonprofit organization and I don't know how to get funding or donors or supporters. So I just want to walk through the process of what that looks like. Okay. For those of you all who are new to me, my name is Jennifer. I am a nonprofit expert, over 38 years of experience helping organizations put together plans and strategies, systems, and tools so that you understand how to operate the business, not just the program. That when you are starting your nonprofit, you are not starting a program. You are starting a business. All right. So let's talk about donors and funders because, again, I get approached all the time from people who say, Jen, I want to start my nonprofit, but my biggest challenge is finding donors. My biggest challenge is raising money. My biggest challenge is securing funding. Right. If that is one of your biggest challenges, say me, Jen, say me. If that is one of your biggest challenges as a nonprofit, that you are having challenges finding donors, finding new donors, raising money, securing funding, say me in the comments, say me in the comments. I appreciate your engagement. I really appreciate your engagement. I appreciate your likes. I appreciate your follows. I appreciate your subscriptions as well. For those of you that are listening on my podcast, thank you for listening. Thank you for liking. And thank you for sharing. All right. Many nonprofit organizations, particularly those of you that are founders or the first time in starting your nonprofit organization, many of you assume that because you have a great mission and a strong desire to make a difference in your community, you may assume that people will naturally donate and support. Right? You may assume that I started my nonprofit, Jen. Now that I have my tax exempt status, people are just going to start donating. People are just going to start contributing. People are going to just start giving you their money because you have a strong desire. You have a strong passion to help your community, right? You might have even an amazing mission, but you have to also understand that donors or finding donors or raising money or securing funds, right, is a process. Put process in the chat. It's a process. Not only is it a process, but it's a strategic process. Put strategic in the chat. Put strategic in the chat. All right. Getting donors, finding donors, raising money, right? It's not a trigger response to first I have my nonprofit or my 501c3 and now people want to give. No, it's a strategic process. And for many new nonprofit leaders, you lack the key knowledge that is needed and required to set up that strategy. I'm going to say that again. As a new nonprofit, many of you start your nonprofits because you are passionate, because you are committed, because you are interested in delivering the program activities, right? Jen, I want to do a homeless shelter. Jen, I want to do a transitional house. Jen, I want to help veterans. Jen, I want to help single moms. Jen, I want to give away scholarships. Jen, I want to do whatever it is that you want to do. Jen, I want to do a sporting program, right? That is an internal program delivery process. You also have to have the strategic process to attract, to inform, to engage, to introduce, to inspire the people who are not in what you do to give to what you do. It's a strategic process. It's a strategic process. Okay. So here are the top 10 things that I want to share with you so that you understand about donor acquisition. All right. Many people who start their nonprofit organization, many of you have never raised money, right? You've never put together a budget. You've never put together the ask or the process of introducing what you do to the community, right? The people who are in your program are not your donors, are not your funders, are not your supporters, are not your contributors. So you've got to have a strategic plan, a process to what? Reach, to introduce, to clarify, to inspire the people who are not in it, your donors, your funders, your partners, your supporters, your sponsors, your volunteers, your board members, those that would and could align themselves or support your organization. That's a strategic process. It's not, Jen, I have a nonprofit. I need a grant. Jen, need a nonprofit. I need to raise money. Jen, I have a nonprofit. I need to find donors. Jen, I have a nonprofit. I need to secure funding. Where does funding come from? Funding comes from outside the organization. So therein lies the need for your strategy, your system, your process, your knowledge about how to connect, how to introduce, how to engage, how to inspire those that are not receiving the services that your organization provides, and communicating to them why what you do is important to them. I'm going to say that again. People do not know to give to you unless they've been introduced to you. Did you hear what I said? People can't give to you if they don't know you exist. People can't give to you unless they know what it is that they're giving to or what they're giving to. So that's where the process comes in. All right. So here are the top 10 things new nonprofits don't understand generally about donor acquisition. And I want to also share with you why this misunderstanding happens. Are y'all with me? Are y'all with me? My name is Jennifer. I am a nonprofit expert, over 38 years of experience. I am a professional fundraiser. I am a nonprofit strategist. I am an executive leadership coach. I've been doing this work for 38 years. For those of you who are new to me, it was my job. It was my job. It was my full-time job to raise money for nonprofit organizations, to lead nonprofit organizations, to put together strategies and systems and tools for thousands of organizations nationally and internationally. That was my job, my full time job. Okay. None of those organizations were mine. So, as I'm sharing with you what I have learned in my 38 years of being in this business, is I want to ensure that you don't make the same mistakes. Okay. I don't want you to make the mistakes that will result in you starting a nonprofit and you are working on the program only, which is only an expense. You're paying for everything out of your pocket. And what does that mean? That means you lack the funding, you lack the supporters, you lack the contributions to what? Sustain what you started. You cannot have expenses and not have revenue. Okay. So where does money come from? It comes from the people, the businesses, the organizations, the partnerships, the sponsorships outside. So you've got to have a strategy, you got to have a system, you got to have a process to introduce, to engage, to inspire, to inform the people that are not in what you do, why what you do is important. All right. So here we go. Number one, many of you all may think that if you build it, if you start the nonprofit, they will come. That there will be this automatic switch that goes off. That Jen, I got my nonprofit. I got my nonprofit. I need a grant. Jen, I'm ready for a grant. I got my piece of paper. It's almost like you're saying, if we build or start the nonprofit, they will come. Am I right? Am I right? Some kind of myth about all I have to do is start my nonprofit and donations will happen. All I have to do is start my nonprofit, throw an event, and people will start giving. All I have to do is get my nonprofit piece of paper and I can automatically get a grant. Has anybody thought that? And now you're 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years more paying for everything out of your own pocket. Why? Donors don't come just because you exist. I know. Many of you may have said, Jen, I was told that if I start my nonprofit, I could get a grant. I was told, Jen, that if I start a nonprofit, I could get a grant. You do not get a grant or money just because you exist. Many of you believe that once you form your nonprofits, donors will magically just start giving, right? All I got to do is throw up a website. All I got to do is have an event. All I've got to do is say I'm a nonprofit, and donations will automatically start coming in. Anybody believe that? You started your nonprofit and now you're finding that it's harder than you thought. Jen, I started my nonprofit, but it's hard finding donors. Jen, I started my nonprofit and it's hard getting supporters. Jen, I started my nonprofit and I'm having to pay for everything out of my pocket because it's hard. Is it harder than you thought it would be? Is it harder than you thought it would be? Did you think all I needed to do was form my nonprofit, fill out my 1023 form? I've started my nonprofit and now I can get donations. And now I can get a grant. And now I can get funders. Are you finding it a little more difficult than that? The reality is this: donors don't come just because you exist. Donors need reason. Did you hear what I said? The donors need a reason to give. They need a clear message of where is their money going? How is their money going to be used? What is going to be the solution that comes as a result of their contribution? Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? I just want you all to go in with your eyes wide open. I just want you to go in with your eyes wide open. You all who follow me, you've heard me say that out of 100 nonprofits, 87 are broke. 87 are operating with less than $30,000 a year. Majority of that 87 is funded by their own founder, right? I started this nonprofit, Jen, and I'm paying for everything out of my pocket. I started my nonprofit, Jen. We don't have any donors. We don't have any funders. We don't have any supporters. We don't have any contributors. I'm paying for everything out of my pocket. Why? Because you skip this step. You skip this step. Donors need reason. They need you gotta be able to tell them, why is this important? What is the mission? Why is the mission important? To me, I'm not in your program. I'm not receiving the services, right? So the person that's not in the program, the person that you want to invest in what you do, what is the reason that you're giving them to do it? Is it because you got a piece of paper? Just because you exist? Just because you have a piece of paper, is that enough reason? No, no. There has to be a clear message. There has to be an introduction. Before a person can give, there first has to be an introduction. And this is the process that I was talking about in the beginning, right? This is the part of the process that nobody talks about. Now, listen, I've created a whole checklist around this thing. What I am saying to you today, you all can get. It's a whole donor acquisition checklist, okay? And today, only, while I am live, today only, while I am live, if you all want this checklist, just let me know and I'll give you the whatever. Okay, here we go. So the donor needs a reason to give. They need to understand what is it that they're giving to before they decide to give. So funding doesn't come first. Jen, I'm a nonprofit. I need funding. Jen, I'm a nonprofit. I'm doing an event. Jen, I'm a nonprofit. What is the process of going from starting to the event? You got to have the people to come to the event. You got to have the people to participate, to support, to contribute to the event, right? How do they know that the event is there? You got to communicate. You got to articulate. You got to introduce. There has to be a message before they decide. Put decide in the chat. Put decide in the chat. What is it that makes the donor decide? You articulating the reason. Building relationship with the person who's not in the program is just as important as having a great cause. Put relationship in the chat. I want you guys to understand that when a person gives their money, there has to be some level of trust. You must have some level of trust that where my money is going, I feel good about. Or do you all just take your money and throw it out the window and you don't really care where your money goes? Right? A person who's not in your program, you want them to give you their money with no conversation, no reason, no clear message. You just think, I got a piece of paper, Jen. I exist. Now I want somebody to give me their money. No explanation, no clear message. I just exist. And now I'm ready for a grant. Jen, I got my nonprofit. I'm ready for a grant. Jen, I got my nonprofit. I need to find donors. Jen, I got my nonprofit. I need funders, Jen. How do I find funders? Your ability to articulate the reason that they should give you their money. What's your reason? What is it that you're saying to them? How are you introducing, and what is the message that you are giving them to what? Motivate, introduce, inspire, inform before they give. Do you, yes or no? Do you give your money? Huh? Do you give your money and you don't know where your money's going? Do you? Do you just, somebody says, hey, I got a nonprofit. I need money. Do you just hand it over or do you not ask? So tell me about your nonprofit. What does the nonprofit do? Do you have questions? Yes or no? Put yes or no in the chat. Do you have questions? Donors don't come or don't give just because you exist. Now, I think a large part of this misunderstanding comes from what? Lack of experience. Put experience in the chat. Comes from lack of experience, comes from lack of knowing that you think because somebody said, start a nonprofit, you can get a grant. Start a nonprofit, you can get a grant. You know what? You should have an event. That's how you can get a lot of donors, just having an event. Well, Jen, I got to have an event because I got to give them something in order for them to donate. No, it's not the event. It's not the gala. It's not the occasion. It's not the walk that causes them to want to donate. No, it's the reason that the organization exists. It's the message of importance of mission. It's not the gala. The gala is not what causes people to donate and give a whole lot of money. No, it is, where is this money going? How is the money raised going to meet a need? It's not the gala. The gala is not it. It's the reason for the gala. And many of you assume that passion alone is enough to attract a donor. You just think my passion alone is enough. What I want to do, how I want to help. I started my nonprofit gym because I want to help. I started my nonprofit gym because of what I went through. I started my nonprofit gym because I want to. I want to serve. I want to help. There's so many needs, Jen. Because of that, because of my passion to help, your passion is not what attracts. Did you hear what I said? It's not your passion that they're attracted to. It's your ability to give them the reason that it should be important to them. It's their money. It's their money. When you're making decisions about your money, aren't you figuring out, is this a good reason? Is this important to me? Is this something I should invest in? Many of you assume that all you got to do is have a piece of paper and some passion. And that's not true. Is it okay if I tell you the truth? It's not true. All right. Number two, fundraising, raising funds on an ongoing basis. A donation is different than ongoing. Donors, donors that give monthly, that give at a major level, those that give regularly, those that give annually. Fundraising, raising, ongoing, not a fundraiser, not an event, not a one day occurrence, but ongoing. Is not just about money. It's not about money. The person that puts you in their budget, the regular donor, the major donor, the monthly donor, the regular donor, the annual donor, that's not just about asking for money. It's about relationship. Put relationship in the chat. It's not about passion. The reality is this: donors don't just give to causes, they give to people. People give to people. People give to people. People give to people they know. People give to people they like. People give to people they trust. You all don't give away your money unless you feel like, yep, I trust that person. Yep, I think I can believe that person. Yep, that person sounds like somebody that I can trust or entrust with my money. If they are going to give you money, their money, for something that they're not in, is it just because you have a cause? Is it just because you have a piece of paper? No. They give because of the connection, because of their understanding, because of their clarity about why your mission matters. Many new nonprofit leaders focus only on the money. All you think, I need funding, Jen. I need donors. Jen, I need a sponsor. Jen, how can I get a grant? Jen, can I get a grant? Jen, how good are you at getting the grant? The grant is what? The money? Well, that depends because the grant application is what? an explanation of reason. Huh? The grant application is say, give me the reason before I give you the money. The grant, Jen, I started my nonprofit. I need a grant. I need a grant, Jen. If I hire a grant writer, Jen, what's my guarantee? No, it's not the guarantee. It's what's the best reason. Are you able to share and show the grant funder the reason that they should give you the money? What's the reason? Is it your passion? Or is it that you're meeting a need? You're focusing on the money instead of what? Building the connection. What's the connection? We solve a problem. That should be important to you. What's the connection? The mission that we have is something that is important to you. The work that we do in the community benefits the entire community. Or are you only focused on the money? The most successful nonprofits cultivate relationships, introductions first, and then ask for financial support. But see, you all go ahead and start these nonprofit businesses. You don't have any connection, you don't have any relationships, you don't know anybody in the community because that's where our money comes from, right? Our money comes from the community. Our donors, our businesses, our sponsors, our board members, our volunteers, our partners, all that comes from outside the business. So you will start this whole nonprofit, start doing the program, and you're the only supporter. Nobody, you don't have any donors, I don't have any funders, I don't have any money, Jan. And so because you did not do that work first, you now only ask for money. I need funders. I need donors. I need donors, Jen. I need funding, Jen. I need to, how can I find donors? How can I find a sponsor, Jen? I can't find funding like it's lost. It's people. Where does funding come from? People. Who are the donors? People. Who are the sponsors? The owner who owns the person who owns the business? It's people. Am I making sense in what I'm saying? The most successful nonprofits, the 13 out of 100, the 87 out of 100, you get your piece of paper, you put your mother, your brother, your dog, your cat, your fish, on the board. These are people that can't help you build relationships. These are people who don't have relationships. These are people who are not connected to the people, to the understanding of what it is and where the folks are that could support your organization, right? So you started this whole thing with no connection, no relationships. You don't know anybody in the community. And now your entire conversation is what we need. We need a building. We need funding. We need support. We need. And again, what's the reason? What is the reason? Why would a person give you a building just because you got a piece of paper? Jen, I'm a nonprofit. I need a building. Jen, I'm a nonprofit. I need a grant. Jen, I'm a nonprofit. I need somebody else's money with no reason? What are you gonna say to them? You're a nonprofit? Is that it? You exist? That's it? Why does this happen? Because many of you only focus on your immediate funding needs instead of the long term donor cultivation. Raising funds, building relationships, Making it clear about why what you do and why it's important to them, to the community, is a process. It's not a one time ask. It's not a one time ask. And many of you that are starting this nonprofit business, you've never run the business, you've never fundraised, you've never had to build those connections. And in your mind, it's these are my immediate needs right now, short term. I need a building, I need funding for a program, but you're not thinking I need money next month too. I'm going to need money every month. Why? Because I've got monthly expenses. I've got monthly expenses. I've got monthly program expenses. I've got monthly expenses to deliver and to achieve our mission. Fundraising is not just a one time ask. You've got to build a donor journey that includes what? Introduction. Hello, my name is, I'm the executive director of, our mission is this. This is why our mission matters. Engagement, trust building before you make an ask. Now, I just think it's rude that you walk up to a total stranger that you have never, they don't know you, you don't know them. And you decide, I got a nonprofit. I need a grant, Jen. Let me send this grant. Jen, can you write a grant, Jen? Can you ask for money? Because I'm a nonprofit. But I got to tell them some things about me, right? I've got to build an introduction. I've got to build trust. I've got to build credibility before they make a decision to give to me. But you all are not thinking about that. You're just thinking, I'm a nonprofit. Let me make the ask. I'm a nonprofit. They told me that if I got a nonprofit, I could get a grant. But what they left out is that you first have to give them a reason to give you the money. Am I right or no? They didn't tell you that part. They didn't tell you that the reason is not your passion. The reason is not your passion. The reason is not what you want to do. I want to do this, Jen. I want a transitional house. I want to open up this, Jen. So I need a building. I need somebody to give me a building because of what I want to do. And that's not why they give the money. They have to trust that you, one, have a reason for the money. You got to know how much money you need. Number three, donors. Donors don't give to your organization's needs, right? Jen, I need a building. Jen, I need equipment. Jen, we need this or we need that. That's not what they give to. They don't give because of what you need. They don't give because of what your organization lacks. They don't give because of your internal operational issues. That's not why they give. Jen, I need a grant so we can get a building. Jen, I need a grant so I can get paid. Jen, I need a grant so I can get equipment. Jen, I need a grant so you can do whatever it is you want to do. That's not why they give. That's not what motivates them to share their money. They give to impact. I say this every day. How many of y'all follow me? And I say this every day. I've been saying the same thing for the last 12 years on these social media streets. On these social media streets, I've been saying the same thing. I've been saying activity is not impact. Activity is not impact. Back in the days of Periscope, honey, I've been saying the exact same thing. I don't know if anybody hears me, though. I don't know if anybody hears me. That your donors and your funders are not giving you their money because of what you need. Jen, we need a building. Jen, we need equipment. Jen, we need staff. Jen, we need this. Jen, we need a bus. Jen, we need a van. That's not why they give. They give to impact. The reality. Put reality in the chat. Put reality in the chat. I just think some of y'all need a reality check. I just want y'all to walk away from this and I want y'all to say, Jen told me the truth. The reality is this: donors aren't interested in what your nonprofit does. They're not interested in your passion. They're not interested in what you want to do. Jen, I want to start a school. Jen, I want to start an after school program. Jen, I want to start a tutoring program. Okay. They're not interested in giving to what you want to do. They want to know the impact of their gift. Did you hear what I said? They want to know the impact of their gift. Many new nonprofits make the mistake of saying, we need money to run our programs, instead of saying, your $50 donation will provide 1 month of after school tutoring for a child. There's a difference. We need money to run our programs. We need money for a building, Jen. We need money for equipment, Jen. That's not what they want. They're not giving you money for that. That's not what drives them. That's not what motivates them. That's not what inspires them. No, it's the message of impact. Your $50 donation will provide 1 month of after school tutoring for a child. Most of you focus on the nonprofit's needs instead of the donor's role. Put a role, put a role. Instead of focusing on the donor's role in creating impact. Now, this is the truth also. Many of you didn't start your nonprofits because of impact. Most of you started your nonprofit because of what you wanted to do, not because of the impact you wanted to create. I'm going to say that again for the people in the bushes. Many of you woke up one day and decided, I'm going to start my nonprofit, Jen. I'm going to start my nonprofit. And this is what I want to do. I'm starting my nonprofit because of what I want to do. I want to open a transitional house. I want to help young people. I want to serve young mothers. I want to all the things that you want to do. Instead of, Jen, I'm starting my nonprofit because this is the impact we want to make. This is the problem that we want to solve. And because you only started thinking about what you want to do, and not because of the impact you want to make, your focus is on what you need to do what you want to do. Am I right? Jen, this is what I want to do. I want to open up a transitional house. Jen, I want to do a sports program for young people. Jen, I want to do a scholarship program. Jen, I want to do this. So now your only focus is on what you want and need to do what you want to do instead of What is it going to take to accomplish the impact? That's not why you started, though. Which is why you cannot articulate to the donor and the funder the why. Why is this important? Why does our mission matter? What is the need that we're addressing? You're not able to clearly articulate that because that's not why you started. You started because of what you want to do, and you are looking for money to get you what you need to do what you want to do. And that doesn't interest the donor. Am I making sense? This is why many of you have a hard time with what do I say? I don't know what to say, Jen. I don't know what to say to the donor. I don't know what to say. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to begin. I know I need to raise money. I know I need to get a grant. I know I need to have fundraising, but I don't know where to start. And that's because you're trying to figure out, how do I explain what I need to do with what I want to do? How do I try to twist arm, convince? How do I get them to understand my passion so that I can do what I want to do? As opposed to, this is the impact of our organization. This is the need that we address and meet. This is the solution our program provides, and this is how much it costs. But see, that's not the mindset when you went into it. You went into it because of what you wanted to do, what you need to do what you want to do. Am I making sense? Yes or no? Am I making sense? Yes or no? This is just the realities, y'all. Am I making sense? Many of you have spent money, you have invested time, and you are funding this whole thing by yourself. Why? Because what you're doing does not connect with them. You did this for you. That's okay. Say that. Can we just get to the bottom of that, please? Can we get to the bottom that, Jen, I started this nonprofit for me? And that's why you don't feel like it's important to learn the business, because it's really not about the community. It's really for you. You don't even think it's a priority to learn. How do I connect with donors? What is it that I need to know to give to donors? How do I put together a plan and a strategy to get more donors? Because that's not really what it's about for you. You started this thing for you, and you're trying to figure out, how can I get money to do what I want to do? You're not thinking about the donor's needs. You're not thinking about the rationale, or even why it's important to them to give you their money. You're not thinking about relationship. All you're thinking about is, these are my needs. These are the nonprofit's needs. And if I can just convey the needs, I need money. So you haven't what? You haven't learned about the nonprofit. You don't know anything about budgeting. You don't know anything about how to get ongoing revenue, because that you're only thinking short term. You're not even thinking about long term for your nonprofit. You're not even thinking long term. You're not thinking long term, which is why you put your mother, your brother, your dog, your cat, your fish on the board, not knowing what their role and responsibility is, not knowing what they should be doing to help you grow the organization, not even knowing what your job is, because that's not why you started it. I know it's a hard truth. 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 And I say every day, out of 100 nonprofits, 87 are struggling. Only 13 get it. Why is the 87 so growing? Because many of you don't know what a nonprofit is. You're not clear about what is it that motivates, that inspires people to give to it. Their money, their time, their resource, their relationship. You didn't even factor that in because you're so self-centered. This is what I want to do, Jen. I want to start a nonprofit. I want to start a nonprofit, Jen, so I can get a grant. Jen, I want, right? You're not even thinking about what do the other people need. It's their money. Jen, I got my nonprofit. I need a grant. I need a grant, Jen. I need a grant. I need somebody to give me their money because I got a piece of paper to do what I want to do. I need somebody to give me a building, Jen. I need somebody to give me a bus, Jen. I need somebody to buy me a building and pay the salary for at least 6 months so I can do what I want to do. The nonprofit is about my passion, and that's not true. It's not true. It's just not true. And the donor, because the donor is a significant, the donor, the funder, the partner, the collaborator, the sponsor, the board member, you want people to be on your board, but you haven't even given them the reason or the rationale of why should they help you raise money to do what you want to do? Why should they give up their time to do what you want to do? Why should they go out and ask their friends and neighbors and colleagues for money for what you want to do? That's not why they give. That's why you all are having such a hard time finding board members because you're trying to convince them that what you want to do is the priority or what the nonprofit needs is the priority instead of this is the impact of our work. This is the importance of our mission being accomplished. This is why our organization in addressing this need is critical right now. But see, y'all don't know how to say that because you're really self centered. I don't know. Maybe I'm too direct. Am I too direct? I wish I could say it like my counterparts, y'all. I come into this space and I think, Lord, let me say it like my counterparts, honey. Let me say it real soft and sweet. Let me just, build them up. Let me just, and that's just not my personality. It's just not. I just gotta say it the way it is, and y'all deal with it. I just gotta say it the way it is, and y'all work it out amongst yourselves. All right. I just want y'all to walk away from this space and say, dang, she told me the truth. Ouch. You're welcome. Let's keep going. I want to say thank you guys for liking. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you all. I appreciate you. For those of you that are subscribing, I appreciate you. Listen, I have been doing this work 38 years. 38 years. It's about to be 39 in June. And I ask myself, girl, why are you still so passionate about this work? I don't know. I ask myself that all the time. What is it? What is it about this work that causes you to just want to go hard? And I think that comes from doing the work, having worked in the nonprofit day to day, right? Working in the business side of the nonprofit, being the executive director. Um, I think from doing the organizational work for so many organizations and helping so many organizations get the funding that they need to do the work of impact, to do the work of solution, that I've seen so many thousands. When I say so many, I mean literally thousands of organizations close their doors, not able to grow. Why? Because the leader, the person who started it, didn't know the business, wasn't interested in learning the business, because the business of the nonprofit was not about impact. It was about their need. It was about what they wanted to do. It was about their priorities and not the priorities of their donors, not the priorities of the community, not the priorities of those that would and could invest in their work. It was very self-centered. Now, how do you all feel? Tell me how you guys feel. How do you feel when a person comes up to you and just automatically assumes that you have money or you have what they want, and they're coming to you for what they want? They have no regard for you. They have no regard for what you need in return. They're just showing up because of what they want. I need donors, Jen. I need a grant, Jen. I need them to just give me money. I don't even really care what they need or what they want in return. I just want the money to do what I want to do. This is why the 87 group out of 100, 87 nonprofits don't have a budget, don't have a working board, don't have multiple streams of revenue, don't have a plan for sustainability, don't have an experienced executive director, right? Somebody's just operating on passion, spending up money, but not able to show impact. That makes the donors more hesitant to give. 38 years ago, there weren't as many nonprofits as there are right now. 38 years ago, there was not as many nonprofits as there are today, right? So the number of people who have a piece of paper are growing. But the number of funders, the number of grant funders are not keeping pace. And the donor, the funder, the businesses, they're trying to figure out, are you the 87 or are you the 13? Like what is your explanation? What is your rationale? What is your message? They're not just out here giving away their money, right? So donors need multiple asks or multiple touches. They need to know who it is they're giving their money to. Don't you want to know who you're giving your money to? Don't you want to know who has your money? What they do with the money? What they do with the money? I gave them a donation. What they do with the money? Do you think somebody's gonna give you a building and they don't ask what you're gonna do with the money? Hello? You think somebody's become a sponsor, attach their brand, their logo to yours just because you sent them something in the news in the mail? Just because you sent them an email? They don't know you. Because there's what? 87 out here sending out spam emails. We need money. 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 Will you help us? We need money, 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 money. Without explanation, without rationale of result, without saying this is what the need is, this is where your money is going. Just we need money. We need money. And so donors don't give the first time they hear about your nonprofit, your piece of paper. They need to see the consistency. They want to investigate, right? The first part before investment, that's the donation. Before the investment, that's the donation. That's the contribution. Before that, there's an I of introduction. Who are you? Tell me what you do. What is your mission? What is it that you're asking for? Tell me about your organization. Why'd you start? What need are you meeting? Introduction. But again, introduction should be easy if you started for impact in mind. Introduction should be easy. This is what the need is in our community. This is what the need is in the community. This is how we're addressing the need. This is the result at the end of our program. This is what our mission is. This is our experience in this area. But see, some of you all are not able to communicate that because you started it based on your need. I want to start this nonprofit, Jen. I want to do this. I want to do this. And so now you feel like you're begging. I don't like fundraising, Jen, because I feel like I'm begging. I feel like I'm begging somebody to give me something, as opposed to saying we give. We give solution. We solve problem. We meet need. We deliver results. We're not beggars, we givers. But you do feel like you're begging when it's about you. It's because of what you want. It's because of what you need. So you do take that personally. You do feel like you're begging. Why? Because it's about me. It's about what I want. It's about what I need. I know it's tight, honey, but it's right. I know it's right. I know it's right. You don't know how to say it. Your board doesn't know how to say it. They're trying to figure out your passion instead of your impact. They're trying to figure out why the mission matters, but you're talking about what you need. So they don't know how to make introduction. They don't know how to communicate. They're not clear what to say to the people who are not in it. Your donors have to feel confident before they give their money, don't you? How many of you all don't invest your money until you feel confident? How many of you all don't give your money? How many of you all don't buy anything? How many of you all don't invest in yourself? How many of you are slow to make a decision until what? You're sure. Until you're sure this is where I want to put my money. Your donors are people. You can't just roll up on them and say, I got a piece of paper, I need a donation, I need a sponsor, I need a building, I need without any explanation. And because there are more of you that don't know what you're doing, Jen, I've never run a nonprofit. Jen, I've never run a board. Jen, I've never fundraised. Jen, I don't have a budget. Jen, all the things you don't have because you didn't take the time to do, but you want them to hurry up and give you money. Jen, how long before they give the grant? Jen, if you write the grant on Tuesday, when will they make a decision? Because I need the money in a hurry. I need the money in a hurry, Jen. I need them to hurry up, make their decision. Jen, how can I get funding quickly? How can I get funding quickly, Jen? How can I find donors fast? What's the best fundraisers to have, Jen, so that we can make money quickly? But you are not thinking about the people. The people. You're not thinking about the people. You're just thinking about their money. That is the most self centered, arrogant position I've ever heard. No explanation, no justification. You just want their money. You just assume that one email or one post is enough to get a donation. You thought it would be easy. You thought all I got to do is send one email. Jen, what should I put in the email? Jen, I need a sponsor. What should I put in the email, Jen? I got a sponsorship deck. Let me send them that sponsorship deck, and that deck should be enough for them to give me their money. You don't realize that information reason is needed. Which is why you don't have a fundraising plan. You don't think you need one. You just think all I got to do is say I'm a nonprofit and I can get a grant. You don't have a strategy. You don't have a system to raise any money. You don't think it's important to know how. You don't think it's important to know how to raise money. You just think being a nonprofit is enough. Having a piece of paper and your mother, your brother, your dog, your cat, your fish on your board is enough. You thought that's enough. All I needed was a board, right? They told me I needed a board, Jen. So I went out here and I got my mother, my brother, my dog, my cat, my fish. I put them on the board. They don't know how to be board members, but they're listed. So all I need to do is have some names listed. That's all I need. I just need some names listed. I don't even know what they're supposed to do. We don't even have a budget, Jim, to explain where the money is going. No, we don't have a budget. We don't feel like we need to tell the donor or the community what we're going to do with their money. I didn't even think about that. I just know what we need. I didn't even think about what I got to give them back. No, I didn't think about that. Mm-mm. Or you thought, right, that grants or relying on grants was going to be sufficient. Jen, I was told that if I started a nonprofit, I could get a grant. So you thought grants was going to be it. Grants and possibly a few events or fundraisers. Or, well, I know I need to fundraise, Jen. I know I need to get some donors. I need to get some donors. I know I need to get some donors, Jen. I know I need to do some events, some fundraisers. I know I need to fundraise. I need some fundraising, Jen. But I need a grant to get started. I need a grant to get started. So you might have assumed that if I rely on grants, because there's lots and lots and lots of grants out there, Jen. I was told, Jen, that there's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of grants out there for what we're doing, right? So I can rely on grants, right? Largely rely on grants because there are lots and lots of grants out there. And I was told, Jen, that there are startup grants. I was told, Jen, that there are grants for women. I was told that there are grants for minorities. I was told, Jen, that there are a lot. I went over there to SAMS.gov. I got my cage number because I just was told that if I had my nonprofit, I could get a grant. Am I right? I was told if I started a nonprofit, so I'm going to rely largely and hugely on grants because there's lots of grants out there. And you may assume that grants are the primary or only source of funding. Can I give y'all some real truths? Can y'all handle the truth? Say yes if you can. I just want to give you some truth. Can y'all handle the truth? Can y'all handle the truth? Can you handle the truth? Comment yes if you can handle the truth. All right. Can you handle the truth? This is the truth. Many grant opportunities. It may take, my battery's about to die. It may take 6 to 12 months to secure a highly competitive grant. Did you hear what I said? 6 to 12 months. 6 to 12 months. remembering that there are more organizations seeking grant dollars. So that grant funder may get hundreds, if not thousands, of proposals. So not everybody's going to get a grant. So that means what? You've got to be writing and submitting more than one grant, right? One grant is not going to fund 100% of what you got going on. So it could take 6 to 12 months. One grant is not going to fund 100%. Oh, God, help me. One grant is not going to fund 100% of your expenses. It's not. And if that grant is highly competitive, right? They may have thousands of proposals. How many of you guys have gotten that reply back where it said, we got so many more proposals than we anticipated, and we could not fund everyone? Has anybody got that letter? Has anybody got that letter that said we got way more applications than we could fund? And while your organization and while the work that you're doing is amazing, we could not fund everyone. Has anybody gotten that? Has anybody gotten that letter? And now you're devastated, right? You're devastated. I didn't get the grant, Jen. I didn't get the grant. Jen, I need to find a grant writer who can get me a grant. Jen, I need to hire a grant writer who can get me a grant. How good are you at getting a grant? If I pay you, how good are you at getting me a grant? Is there a guarantee? Jen, if I pay you to write this grant, is there a guarantee that I'll get the grant? No, because not everybody's going to get that grant. That has nothing to do with what I write. It has everything to do with your reason, your budget, your plan for sustainability. That ain't got nothing to do with me. That's you. That's not me. That's you. Up against everyone else's. They're talking about impact, right? They're saying we can serve 100 people with this $50,000. And you, because of your passion, might be able to serve 5. Who are they gonna give it to? That has nothing to do with the grant writer. That has everything to do with you and your reason, your rationale. That's your program. We don't make up stories. We don't make up stories. We can't overpromise. We can't tell the grant funder that you can do something that you cannot do because that's criminal. That's fraud. I don't even want to talk about that. Okay. I don't even want to talk about that. My point is this: people assume that because other nonprofits receive grants, the grant is the money. The grant is the investment, that you should automatically also qualify. You don't realize that successful nonprofits have what? Multiple streams of revenue. Don't I talk about multiple streams of revenue every day? For those of you guys who are listening to me, for those of you all who follow me, I talk about multiple streams of revenue all the time. I say you all want, as any business, multiple streams of revenue. Multiple streams of revenue. Well, Jen, I'm a nonprofit. How else are we supposed to get money? Jen, I'm a nonprofit. Where does money come from? Jen, I'm a nonprofit. We don't have any money. No, you're a business. You're a business. Your nonprofit is a business. It's not a program. It's not your passion project. It's not your hobby. It's a business. And every business has multiple streams of revenue. Every business has multiple streams of revenue. So while you're waiting for the one stream, which is the grant, you're waiting for the one stream, which is the grant, just like you don't or cannot have one individual donor, one grant's not going to fund your ongoing expenses. So you need multiple, you need multiple, you need multiple, you need multiple, you need ongoing, right? You need ongoing revenue. But most of you Started your nonprofit with no plan, no strategy, no relationship on how to get multiple streams of revenue, which is why you're funding everything out of your pocket and you're waiting on a grant. I'm waiting on a grant, Jen. Jen, I was told that I should hire a grant writer. Mhm. I was told, Jen, that I should hire a grant writer because they can help me get a grant. But what they may not have told you is that that grant funder is going to ask you, where else does money coming from? The grant funder is going to ask that question. Where else does money come from? What other streams of revenue is coming into the organization? That's going to be on that grant application too. Not just what you need, right? Because you think all I got to do is say in the application what you need. No, I've got to describe impact. The funder is funding impact, not what you need. Did you hear what I said? The grant funder is not funding what you need. I just had a hot flash. Because you think all I need to do is write me a grant, find me a grant writer, and they will get me a grant for what I need. And that's not true. It's just not true. It's just not true. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? I just want you to walk with your eyes wide open. That's it. All right. You don't realize that I'm having a private some successful nonprofits, successful nonprofits have multiple streams of revenue. Many of you are funding this whole thing by yourself. Why? Because you have not learned. You did not take the time to learn how do I generate multiple streams of revenue. You just jumped out here and thought starting my nonprofit is about telling people what I need. I can get a grant. Most of my money's gonna come from grant. And I don't know if it's because you thought if I tell a grant funder what I need, because I'm a nonprofit, they'll just automatically give me the money. That way, I don't have to say anything. I don't have to explain anything. I don't have to, like, all I got to do is tell them what I need. Is that it? Is it, I decided I'm going to get a grant because I'm a nonprofit and they're going to give me the grant because I'm a nonprofit? Or they're going to give me the grant for what I need? I'm just trying to understand the thinking. You've got to have a strategy to raise money. You've got to have a strategy to diversify your funding streams. Every business does. Every business does. You're not a program, you're a business. There are two categories of business. Put business in the chat. Put business in the chat. Put business in the chat. Now, this is the part. You all are not running it like a business. You're running it like it's your passion. You're not running it like a business. You're not running it like you are the CEO, you are the executive director of a business. No, you're running it like you have a nonprofit for the program to do what you want to do. But the donor and the funder are investing in the impact of the business, the organization, not your passion or what you want to do. And because you don't know what to do in terms of generating the revenue, because you don't know what to do in terms of running the business, you don't think that's important. You think all I got to do is start a nonprofit to do with what I want to do, which is why you don't have money because you don't know what to do. You didn't think that was important. You thought all I need to do was start a nonprofit and that's all I need to do. I don't need to know anything else. I don't need to know what the board's supposed to do. I don't need to know what the donor needs. I don't need to know how to raise money or to generate the revenue. How do we know? You started it and then you started paying for everything out of your pocket. And then you started having fundraisers or events just to get enough money to do the next thing. And then you've been trying to get a grant and now you're frustrated. I just started, Jim, because of what I wanted to do. I didn't think about ongoing funding. I didn't think about a budget. I didn't think about all the things that I'm going to need on a regular basis. No, I didn't even think about any of that, Jim. I didn't even think that was important. No, I didn't think about that. I just thought that if I had a nonprofit, I could get a grant. I thought if I had a nonprofit, I could find donors. But now the question, I can't find donors, Jen. I can't find funders, Jen. How do I find? Find, like, where are they? Who are they? How do I get sponsors, Jen? How do I get somebody to give me their money? But I feel like I'm begging. I don't like fundraising, Jen. That's because it's about you and not about impact. That's because it's about what you want to do and not what's in it for them. You don't even have a rationale. For many of you, you started with what I want to do. Then you went out there, you found some mission statement that you done slapped together and threw it on top of what you're trying to do. And that's not the right order. So then what do? You go out and you find board members to be advisors. You done went out and got you some board members to be advisors. You don't put your mother, your brother, your dog, your cat, your fish on the board. And then you all sit around and brainstorm. And you want people on the board so that they can advise you. And that's not their role. The reality, put reality in the chat, which is why y'all are having a hard time finding board members. Because what you really want are advisors. You want people to come in and tell you what to do. You want people to come in and help you to brainstorm. You want people to come in who have connections, who have relationships, and who can advise you on what to do. But that's not their job. A nonprofit's board should not be advisory in that regard of what do you should know your job. Your job is running the business, right? But you go put your mother, your brother, your dog, your cat on fish, and y'all sit around and brainstorm on what do you think we should do? I don't know. What do you think we should do? I don't know. What do you think we should do? The reality is a board should play a role in raising funds, donor engagement. But for many of you, you assume that board members are just advisors who just show up for meetings. Now, you want them to help you raise money, but they don't have any connections. They don't know how to give the delivery or articulate the reason for your mission and why you're, because it's all about you. right? So you want them to be passionate, like you're passionate about what you want to do. But that's not a justification. That's not a rationale. That's not an explanation of why the people outside the organization should give their money. But it's about you. It's not about the impact. So they can't help you raise money because they're just advising you so you stay inspired to do what you want to do. Am I making sense? I think I hit it. I don't know. You have people on your board as advisors to show up at meetings, to brainstorm. But strong board members help raise funds, help network, help bring in donors. Well, who and how do they do that? How are they able to help you raise funds? How are they able to help you to network? How are they able to help you bring in donors? By sharing impact. But that's not why you started. You didn't start for impact. You started because of what you wanted to do. How do we know? You can't articulate impact. That's how we know. It ain't hard. We know why you don't have any donors because you don't know how to articulate impact. Now, you can talk about your passion. You can talk about why you started. You can talk about why this work is important to you. Why does this happen? Put why. Put why in the chat. Why does this happen? I just want y'all to understand the why. I want you to understand the why. I don't want anybody to be I don't want anybody to be confused. Okay? Why does this happen? Because you don't have the knowledge about the role of the board. You don't have the experience about board governance and the role of fundraising. Many of you recruit your mother, your brother, your dog, your cat, your fish because you don't have to prepare them to go out in the community. You just need advisors. You just want people around you that agree with your passion and agree with what you want to do instead of orientating, preparing, training, equipping the people that you bring into the organization that have to learn what the mission is, have to understand why the mission is important, have to be able to articulate and describe to others outside the organization why it should matter to them, what it costs to do the program. You didn't give them any of that. You brought people because you wanted people to advise you because you don't know what to do. I don't know, Jen. I don't know what my role is. I don't know what my responsibility is. I've never run a nonprofit, Jen. I've never run a nonprofit. I've never raised an organization. I've never grew a nonprofit. I've never done this. Now, I'm passionate about this program, no. This program is what I know. This program is what I'm clear about. But you didn't start a program, you started a business. The program doesn't generate revenue. The program doesn't generate revenue. So where does that coming from? Well, Jen, I'm a nonprofit. Can't I just get a grant? Now we're back to that myth. There are no fundraising goals. There's no fundraising plan. There's no fundraising strategy. What is fundraising? Communication. It starts with communication. It starts with connection. It starts with the reason why you need the funds. It starts with how much money do you need and what's going to happen as a result of them giving and don't. I don't have any of that in place, Jan. Mm-mm. I did not even I didn't pause to do any of that. Uh-uh. I just started because I was just really passionate about doing what I wanted to do. This is the program I wanted to do. This is the program I wanted to do. And this is why I started the nonprofit. I just thought if I started, they would give me money. And now you mad at your board because they don't know how to fundraise. Why? Because you did not equip them to be able to fundraise. Huh? And now they just give advice. They tell you what they like and what they don't like. I don't like that. I don't think we should do that. I don't think that's how it should work because all you want is advice. Am I right or no? Many of you don't realize even the point of your website. You just threw up a bunch of words, you just threw up some pages, and you just don't understand how important those pages are. Your people, the people that you talk to, the people that you speak to, or who you introduce your organization to, are going to research you before they give, right? Do you guys do research before you give your money? Before you give your money or before you invest in something, do you do your research? Is this a good buy? Is this real? Is this realistic? Is this a good time? You do your research, right? They're going to do the same thing. So they're going to go over to your website. They're going to go to your social media. Well, Jen, I got a website, Jen, but it's not current. Jen, I got my social media pages, but I haven't done anything with it. I haven't done anything with it, Jen. It's not, I haven't used it for years. I just don't have the time. I just don't have the time. What does that say to the donor? That if your website is outdated, your social media is inactive, the donors say, I don't even know if this organization is real. Like, are they still doing program? You got a big old clear donate button, but is your activity such that they can become current with what you do to build what? Trust. Would you give to anything that hasn't been touched or updated in 2 years, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, or 4 years more? Would you think that organization is doing something currently? There's no movement, there's no update, there's no current information, but you right now are asking me for money. You right now are asking me for money. But what I see, I don't know even that you're working. I don't even know that you're doing anything. Hello? Why does this happen? Because many of you focus on the program only. You figure I'll market later. You figure I'll let people know what we do and why what we do is important later. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. Everything is program first, program first, program first, program first, program first, program first. I don't have time. I don't have time to let people see and understand that what we're doing is working right now, that the needs and our programs are current and that this is where our goals are for. I don't have time for any of that. I'll market later. And you don't realize that if a person is considering giving their money and they don't see any present activity to show that what their money is going to is real, it is not going to convert the supporter or the person into a donor. Are y'all with me? Y'all like this live. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you all for subscribing. All right. I need you guys to know that retaining a donor, a person who gave, a person who attended the event, a person who donated is just as important. Put important in the chat. Just as important, just as important, just as important, just as important. Retaining the donor, staying connected to the donor is just as important as finding a new one. Donor retention is cheaper and more effective than constantly finding new. Jen, they came to my event, but they haven't given again. Jen, I met them, but I haven't stayed in contact with them. Now I got to go out and find new. Many new nonprofits focus on only acquiring new, instead of keeping the existing ones that you have. A returning donor is 3 times more likely to give than a new donor. The person that came to the event, the person that you met, the person that made the donation is 3 times more likely to give again than trying to find a new donor. It costs more money. Why does this happen? Because you don't know fundraising, you don't know donor stewardship. You don't have the system in place. You got all of these programs, right? You got Zeffy, you got, milk butter or good butter or whatever the butter is, right? You got you got all these programs, but you don't know how to use them. Huh? You got all these programs, but I don't know how to use them, Jim. I don't have a stewardship plan. Mm-mm. I don't have a steward. I don't know how to work this thing. But after your thank you, after you sent a thank you, you know to send a thank you. After the thank you don't follow up anymore. You think about I need to do a newsletter. So you might send a newsletter out once a year. So that means they haven't heard from you in a year. They forgot they gave to you. They forgot they gave to you. After the thank you, now we done lost them. Jen, they gave in 2023, but they didn't give in 2024. They gave in 2021, but they didn't give in 2022. They didn't give in 2023. Why not? Why did they make a one-time gift and not give again? Do you know why? No. Well, then the same thing's going to happen with the new. You don't have a fundraising plan. You don't have a donor stewardship plan. You didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about that, Jen. I was just so hell bent on starting this program, Jen. I didn't think about how to get and keep donors. I didn't even think about it. It never occurred to me. It never occurred to me. I just thought sending them a thank you was enough. I just thought, because that's what they say. That's what Google said. Google said all I got to do is send a thank you. And that's not true. Not true. Right? Many of you don't have a case for support. A case for support is essential. Put essential in the chat. I know. Essential? A case for support? I thought my passion was the case for support. I thought what I wanted to do was my case for support. No, no. I thought being a nonprofit was enough. Your case for support explains why they should give. Why should they give? What's the mission? What's the need for funding? Not what you need. What's the need for funding? Not what you need. And that's because many of you lack a clear message about the funding needs. Not what you need, but the funding needs. Not what you need, but the funding needs. Many of you don't know the difference. All you can talk about is what you need, what the organization needs, but that's not the funding needs. That's a different thing. Many of you all don't have a long-term strategy. Fundraising, raising funds is a long-term strategy, not a one-time event. A long-term strategy means consistency, means relationship building, means time. How much time are you all investing in raising funds, raising relationships, making introduction? How much time? Jen, we don't have any time. All of our time, Jen, is over this program. We don't have time to do anything else but this program, Jen. That's all we have time for. We have not made priority. We have not made time to make introduction, to build relationship, to share why our, no, we haven't taken any time for that, Jen. All of our time has been over there doing the program. And that is why you have no money. That's why you don't have any money. You don't have a strategy. You're not taking the time. You expect to raise thousands of dollars immediately, right? By writing a grant. If I write a grant, Jen, I can get a lot of money, lots of money. Jen, if I get a grant, I can get lots of money. Jen, if I can get a foundation, if I can get a sponsor to give me $50,000, $60,000, lots of money at one time, that'll hold us over. But you got to build trust with these people before they give you all that money. Who gonna give you $50,000 without a rationale, without a reason, with no expectation? You think just a one-time ask is gonna be enough? How's that working out? You've not set any fundraising goals, right? You've gone January, February, March, no money. April, May, June, you paying for everything out of your pocket. Now you're hunting for a grant, which you think is going to give you everything you need in one ask. If I get one grant, Jen, everything I need in one grant, I won't have to raise the money no more. And that's not realistic. You are not focused on, you are not planning for long term funding. You're just thinking about one time immediate, one time immediate, one time immediate, one time immediate. You don't have a plan for long term funding. You don't have a budget for long term funding. You don't, which is why you don't have a plan in place, which is why you've not taken the time to put it in place, which is why you've not learned how. Listen, most of you are struggling right now with fundraising because you don't have a strategy. You don't know how to build the relationships. You don't know how to do the messaging to attract, to introduce donors and funders. You don't understand donor acquisition. And so you're falling into every mistake that's out there. And because of that, you don't have a strong financial foundation from the start. Put start. From the start. From the start, you don't have a foundation. Because after you done started, now we got more money needed, right? Because you done spent everything out of your pocket. More money, more expense. More money, more expense. More program, more expense. I need a grant, Jen. I need a grant. But the grant funder wants to know how financially sound are you? They want to see a budget. They want to know where your other streams of revenue come in. Are there any questions? Would you like for this to be turned into a fundraising checklist or something? Would y'all like a checklist? I can turn this into a checklist. Everything that I've mentioned, everything that I've said, like I said, you need a checklist. You need a checklist. Now, I can give you the checklist. You got to still know how to do the checklist. I can give you the checklist. All right. Put checklist in the comments if you all would like the checklist. Okay. All right. The checklist is going to be $25. $25 for the checklist. If you want the checklist, all right, my Cash App is $ the nonprofit expert, $ the nonprofit expert, $ the nonprofit expert. And make sure you put your email in the comments. Put checklist. Okay. I need $25 and I will send you the checklist. $ the nonprofit expert. Okay. Include email address so I know where to send it. All right. I hope that this was helpful. Listen, I know that this was long, but I just wanted to be able to explain to you why new nonprofits struggle. Now, those of you all who don't like learning, those of you that like it quick and fast is what's got you stuck. That no one is taking the time to explain, no one is taking the time to teach. And for that reason, you don't know. Running a business is not just starting the business. Having a business, you have to know how to run the business. And for those of you that don't think it's valuable to learn the business, you're competing with those that know the business. You're competing with those organizations that know what to do and how to do it, which is why I say learning is your best investment. Before you make a decision to invest in the nonprofit paperwork, before you invest in the website, before you invest in the materials and supplies, before you invest in all the things that are in the program, I say invest in learning how to run the business. But y'all don't want to do that. Y'all are so passionate about what you want to do. I don't have a dog in that fight. I'm just saying that for many of you, you are stuck because you don't know how. That's it. All right. I'm going to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your shares. Thank you for those of you that have subscribed. I appreciate those of you over here. Thank you very much. All right. I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that this has been enlightening. I hope that this has been thought provoking. I hope that this will answer why some of you are stuck. It's not because of money. Money is not your problem. Jen, I don't have a plan to raise it. Jen, I don't know how to raise it. And when I started this business, that was not my priority. Money is a fruit. Okay. Thank you all very much. If you all would please subscribe, I'm on my way over here on the YouTube to 1,000 subscribers. So your subscriptions help. If there is any reflection, if there is any thought about what I've said, I would appreciate your engagement in the comments. And again, I hope that I've shared something of value for you. All right. I will see you all next time. I will see you guys next time. Next time. My name is Jennifer. I am your nonprofit expert. Over 38 years of experience, not just talking about nonprofits, running nonprofits. I'm a professional fundraiser. Okay. I am a professional fundraiser. And it is my joy, my mission, my purpose to help those of you who are stuck to understand how to do it like the others do it, that do it well. All right.